Welcome to episode 14 of MudderRucker, the only podcast dedicated to Irish women's rugby. I'm Ailbhe O'Nolan.
And I'm Cian O'Mudder.
Join us today is to discuss the second round of the competition is AIL, and as of this weekend, Interpro champion Chloe Pearse. Congratulations.
A channel of Chloe Pearse here today.
I have to ask, why would you go on a boat on day two? I'm ill thinking about it.
That's Jane Clohessy. She plans this. We've done it for the last 3 years. We go up to Kinaloo, up to Garrett Kennedy on the boats. But yeah, it's a terrible choice. But a couple of friends and family members have jet skis, and the girls go swimming, and it's great crack. I just stay on the boat drinking, to be honest, because if you don't keep drinking through it, you can't get through it. But some people were definitely a little bit seasick, like Chisholm Aguero, which was entertaining.
I saw the video purchase of Jesus
God.
Christ.
Yeah. Under what circumstances do jet skis make that whole scenario better on day two?
I can't imagine.
It's dangerous, to be honest.
It goes out of you faster. I'm not.
Well, congratulations anyway, and what a way to end your Munster career. If you could have scripted it, could it have been any better?
Yeah, I'd have scored more tries, definitely.
Here, you scored enough tries. You can give a rest.
And you'll have heard her there, Christy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So we're just going to get to know you a little bit, if that's okay. So you were born in the US, native of Virginia, but you moved over, I believe, to study for your master's here. I can't imagine you came over thinking that you're going to play for Ireland, let alone Leinster someday.
No, that wasn't the plan when I came over. I just joined the club so that I would have friends, to be honest. You're moving to a new country and you're away from your friends and family. It's a great way to find people who are like-minded, join a rugby club. So I joined with St. Mary's and started playing there with, some legends of the game like Paul Fitzpatrick and Oral Fitzsimons, and it was a really great introduction to Irish rugby, and the rest of history. Then I joined Leinster in 2017 and unfortunately have had the honour of losing to Munster, but also beating Munster a few times since then.
And I can't imagine, did you plan when you came over that you were going to stay, or did you just get addicted to us?
No. So the plan was to just come over for the year masters. But I'm a structural engineer, and I'd say I was probably here about a week and a half before I realised it was a terrible idea to get a structural degree in the different unit system. So I've been beaters and using different codes and everything, and different standards. I mean, buildings stand up the same way they do in America, but it's all a little bit different over here. So I even throughout the year didn't have mad plans to stay, but I took a notion to apply to DBFL, my current employers, and I said at the time, if they accept me, I'll stay. If they say no, then I'll just go home. So there was the only application I put in anywhere, and they took me, so I stayed.
Wow.
So we have them to thank, basically, for
pretty
you
much,
representing
yeah.
Ireland. That's
Absolutely.
incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. You mentioned you're a structural engineer. I have to ask a very weird question.
Go
Is
ahead.
anything about structural engineering, does it add or take away from being a prop in a scrum?
Oh, brilliant question. I think there's a huge amount of crossover, which makes the kids laugh when I say it to them. But I do weekly. There's an Engineers Ireland Steps Week where it's all about getting young kids and interested in engineering. And one of my kind of taglines for engineering is that it is just like rugby and it's just like the scrum, because in the scrum it's all about stability and your points of contact with the ground, your biomechanics, which is the same as the building structure. How are you going to get your load transported from A to B? And what that looks like in a scrum is similar enough to what it looks like in a building. So I do nerdily enough think there's a huge amount of crossover. And then at the end of the day, engineering and scrum, they're all about problem solving on the go. So trying to come up with different angles of attack, what you can do differently the next time, and what can make the process even better each time.
Maybe one day you could set up a master's that's how to scrum like structural engineer. It's incredible. I love that there's that crossover. So unfortunately you got ruled out of the World Cup not too long before the squad was announced with a hamstring injury. How's the hamstring going for you?
I did, yeah. It was some crap timing. In the term of in terms of injuries, it's not the worst. It was kind of an 8 to 12 week job. It was just the worst 8 to 12 weeks of a 4 year cycle.
Yeah.
And I was flying along. I was doing really well. Last week I had a bit of a setback, so it's going to be a little bit longer than anticipated coming back, which is really hard. But got a good team around me, and lots of friends who are looking out for me and have my back and keeping me on the straight and narrow for rehab. So we'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Good. I imagine all of that support is vital to you in terms of your mental health. All right. How's it been watching the team so far?
It's been good. Like every party wants to be there and wants to be a part of the day to day of it. But the girls are going so well. Like it's so exciting to see them, kind of performing on the world stage as well as they have been the last 2 weeks. And I've had the ability to be there for both weeks and sitting in the family section. I nearly feel like a proud mom as well. I'm like, you got this. But no, they're going really well, and it's no, they've been going good. So hopefully we can keep that going on in the next couple of weeks.
Great. Are you heading over this weekend as well?
I will be over this weekend. Yes. Yeah,
Very
that's
good.
the
We
plan.
might spot you there. So
Yeah.
right, we might dive into round 2 of the World Cup then. It was a bit of an interesting weekend. There was, I think, a lot of predictable scores, but there were some interesting games as well. I'd like to discuss France-Brazil because I think as it stands, France is probably our most likely quarterfinal matchup, but I suppose you never know. South Africa could surprise us again. So France the weekend played Brazil. France enjoyed, I think, the loose play. They scored 14 tries across 10 try scorers. So it was a hell of a game to watch, certainly for a France fan. But they play South Africa next. Do you think, given, Christy, given that Italy failed to perform on the opening weekend, are France having potentially too easy of a run into the quarterfinal?
I don't know if they're having too easy of a run. I think there's a huge amount of confidence in scoring tries, and that's going to stand to them. France are a good team at kind of taking the opportunities in that open face play and that two-way kind of rugby and playing what's in front of them. But yeah, I suppose there's the potential that they could kind of fall at the last hurdle, but that'll only suit us even more down to a T. And I think if we do come across them in a quarter final, we'll have a lot of confidence coming even from seeing them in the Six Nations just gone, and then seeing the performance that they've put in over the last 2 weeks. So we'll have a good go with them.
Chloe, you famously love watching France play and you love their consistency. What do you think it's going to be like going into this weekend against South Africa for them? Do you think they're just going to run riot, or have we some hope?
I don't know if we've hope of South Africa winning, but I just don't know how much you can read into that game. Like South Africa also beat Brazil by 60 points, and it was like two worlds apart teams playing each other. You bring Bourdon Sansus back from her ban and she just runs riot, and Emily Boulard kind of gets her shot at 15 and she ran riot as well. So I don't know if you can read too much into it, but I think what we will have learned is if we're kicking ball, it has to go off the pitch. Can't kick loosely to them if we do end up coming across them. I think that was something Brazil struggled with a lot, like when they did kick the ball off and landed in open space, which just gave France a chance to run straight back down at them. And when they did, most of the time they actually scored. But yeah, I think South Africa won't be a match for them. But hopefully, they can put it up to them and, for themselves as well. But they're also already qualified. So do they need to go out and, decimate their squad depth if necessary, or do they need to play it safe and see how they go?
Yeah, I think it's consistent thing with France that you don't kick to them, whether it's the men's or the women's team. You don't kick to them. They love a counter attack. They love to I suppose open up a game a little bit. It is an area, Chloe, of the game that we've struggled with, though, it seems, from the Six Nations and into the World Cup now, is getting the ball off the pitch where we need to get the ball off the pitch. At times it's dropping short, and we have handed, and I think against France we did give them a try by dropping it short. It's something that we can fix going into that game, though, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the common saying, the ball needs to land in row's head, don't have it land on the pitch, don't have it land on the sideline where Sansus can pick it up and throw it in, make sure that ball hits something so that they can't go fast. But I think just like eliminating that loose play in general is what we'll need to do if we're to beat them. But we have to play New Zealand first, so we're looking at a match that we haven't even had a fixture for yet.
Yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves now, but I think against both teams, when we play New Zealand this weekend as well, our kicking is going to have to be exceptionally good. There was times on Sunday, it was a little poor, I thought, but it's something they're going to have to be very tactically aware of, because we don't want Portia Woodman and whoever else running back down our throat, and Georgia Miller, who's their sixth, who might be back there and just beats defenders for fun. So, we're going to have to be very tactical with that and make sure if we are kicking, ball goes off the pitch.
I think we need to review the World Rugby laws and just ban the likes of Portia Woodman coming out of retirement. I think we have to write strongly worded emails to try and get that over the line ahead of Sunday. Just touching on Bordan Sansu, Christy, what does she like to play? She looks like the most electric player, but she has absolutely no fear. The game at the weekend against Brazil, she gets the ball, she's facing the wrong way, out the back door, a flick that went about 25 metres. It didn't go to hand, it bobbled a bit, but it eventually got there. But she has no fear, she'll just try anything.
Yeah, and there's you have to have a huge amount of respect for a player like that who's willing to kind of give it a go, regardless of kind of what the outcome is going to be. And she is like, look, it's a hard day when I'm up against her trying to tackle her. A hard day to be stepped. But no, so like, look, give her the respect she's due. But definitely something the Irish defence, I think, after reviewing the game from last weekend, are going to be targeting. I suppose down the line, like Chloe said, we have to play this weekend first.
Okay, so we'll look back at Italy against South Africa. I think this, Cian, was probably the one upset that we've seen of the first two rounds of the World Cup so far. Was it a game more so where, more of the same from Italy, when against France they just failed to perform? Or was it a particularly strong showing from South Africa, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Italy improved from that France loss. They produced some lovely multi-phase scores, Vicini, Scorbini and Say, but they've not led in either of those two games in 160 minutes of rugby. They got it back to level twice, which was pretty impressive, but they were consistently on the back foot. It really for me was they improved, but it was their discipline and errors, really. It was the error count more than anything else. I actually said it on the day. They only stopped shooting themselves in the foot because they ran out of feet before bullets. They gave so many scrums to South Africa, and the South African pack just ate them for breakfast, lunch and dinner with seconds. What was it? They had 17 scrums. 17
scrums.
It's an
And that's a
insane
big
number
pack.
of scrums. It's a ridiculous number, and it's a big pack. You can't hand a pack like that, a pack that loves a scrum. How many scrums? It's going to be very, very difficult to win a game. So yeah, for their money, South Africa were very good. They were direct and powerful. They made great use of that scrum dominance, and especially that Helle try to open it. She is such an impressive ball carrier. Absolutely unbelievable. Her, like I would not want to stop her with a brick wall. But also big shout out, Libby Jansen van Rensburg is amazing. Absolutely brilliant. That try saver at the end where she keeps it in touch, the flick back in field.
That was incredible. The closing minutes of that game have to have been the most exciting 2 minutes of rugby I think we've seen across the whole competition. Like that, Rigoni goes to hit it into row Z, doesn't even reach row A, slapped back in. It goes back over their own try line, only for them to dot it down in the end. And then they go to take the 22 dropout, and it stayed in field, bobbled, and then went out. My heart, I couldn't cope.
The late game execution under that kind of pressure for their first ever win against Italy and their first ever time getting into a quarter final was brilliant. I'm not sure exactly what's happening in the background of the SA women coming to this level, but they've come on leaps and bounds. They're really, really impressive. They seem a really tight unit. They seem really happy as well, and you just love to see it.
The culture around the team is incredible, isn't it? You see all of this footage before the warm up and before the game, and they're singing, and they're clearly a really tight unit. But looking at where they've come from, and I think for us we feel like we've had a hand in it because the incredible in Cantwell was involved there and appears to have put some serious foundations in place to build what South Africa are starting to build. Christy, what was it like for you watching that game? Did you expect to see such a performance from South Africa? Was it an upset, or was it something you kind of expected?
It's not something I expected, I suppose, before the game. But then, like you said, set piece is so important. And if you're dominating in set piece, like, as soon as we saw the kind of the trend of the first couple of scrums, the rest of it wasn't surprising. Then, it's such an attacking platform. It's such a look. I've been on both sides of a scrum that's been really successful or really unsuccessful, and it's such a confidence or morale swing in a team, because even the backs feel it when the forwards are getting put under the pump in the scrum. The team kind of resonates with it. So once that started going, it's a hard ball rolling down the hill to stop.
I'm notoriously good at predicting rugby matches. I'm be involved in a few fantasy teams, and I'd say to everybody, if you can't beat me, you're shit. I am desperate at it, to the point that I told everybody before the World Cup, Italy are the team that's going to surprise everybody now. Italy is going to be insanely good, and here we are. I think I'd bury any team that I predict to do well. Chloe, did you see Italy coming away with the win at any point in that game? They were chasing the game for much of it.
Yeah, they were, and they kind of just lost heart. They to make a lot of tackles in that first half, and let's be honest, that South Africa pack are monstrous. Eventually that's going to tire you out. But South Africa, what a story, from, as we've said, what they've come from, what Lynn Canwell has. We're definitely taking the credit for it. That's such an Irish thing to do. Nothing to do with us. South Africa
not
going to the
Lynn,
World
we.
Cup. And Lynn is ours, and she did that.
Yeah.
So, but it's such an incredible story. But we had spoken about how poor Italy and France were last week in that game.
Yeah.
And Italy have put it up to France in recent seasons. So this was kind of teed up, to be that France's Achilles heel, that they might have won that first game to even, to get through. But I don't think we expected them not to make the quarterfinals. That's going to be a really tough one to take for them, I think. I don't think they'd have expected to be in this position at all.
Yeah, the end of the game, the footage was just subs on the bench with their heads in their hands, desperately hoping in the last 3 minutes that they could pull something out of somewhere. And I can only imagine how disheartening that is when you have that weight of expectation versus South Africa coming in with, we're happy to be here and we're just going to have fun, and they are having fun. So it's a pity for Italy, but it's great to see South Africa doing what they're doing. So we might look back then on the Ireland game. Obviously the most important game for us at the weekend. Ireland were pretty good, scoring 7 tries, but conceded 5 tries, which was, I don't know, I think there was a few controversial decisions in there for some of those tries. For me, I think it was a bit of a frustrating game. I think we struggled at times defensively to handle them. They were making a lot of yards post-contact. Chloe, 2 years ago, I think Ireland, we struggled to score a lot more than we struggled to defend. Now we're scoring particularly well, but it feels like our defence has taken a knock probably since the Six Nations. What for you has changed? Are we missing a jackal threat in the middle of the field? Are we struggling to regain our own ball?
Well, there was a change in defence coach. Let's call a spade a spade. The defence was really strong in the Six Nations and a very popular figure from what I could gather. And, then that changes before the World Cup. So from what I can see, the system does seem to be a little bit different. Because, yeah, like, and when we were 12-0 up, I really thought we were going to kick on. Like I said, this is it now, you know, same as last week. We're going to blow this first half out of the water and then it'll just be kind of easy sailing. And then we just kept letting them back into the game. Now, a couple of disruptions as well, you know, injuries didn't help. Sam going off, Fiona was down, Eve was down. But you're sitting there going, what is going on? But we definitely struggled. Now look, they had Claudia Pena, who was in fairness one of probably in the top 10 players at the moment, I would say, especially in that age bracket. Like, she's very good. But yeah, you can't concede 5 tries and expect to go far, I don't think, in this World Cup. That's something they're definitely going to have to look at. Those double tackles were missed. You know, when we played France last year and when we played teams that we beat in the Six Nations, we spoke constantly about those double tackles, winning the gain line. But yeah, maybe we are missing a jackal threat. How many turnovers are we winning? I know, you know, Elna Perry got one, Aoife Dalton got one, or it was arguable who got it. The Elna Perry one versus Aoife Dalton, we had a debate about it today of who got it, because when she got the player of the match. But yeah, like, there isn't too many people going in slowing down the ruck. And, you know, we spoke about ruck speed last week. If you don't have a jackal threat there and you're not winning the collision, the other team more likely will have that 0 to 3 second goal ball, which, as we said last week, it's just so hard to defend because you're constantly on the back foot. So whether they just need to kind of increase that time and tackle, or else just have someone who is a complete nuisance and let them go at all the rucks with just maybe one tackler so that they can slow it down so that we can get kind of on our feet and back in the line to get off then.
Look at the set piece, Christy. Our scrum was very effective. There was times when it looked like we were absolutely going to barrel over Spain. 100% success in the scrum. What was the key for you to that dominance this week?
There were, like, I think our scrum has been building a lot over the last couple of weeks, and we obviously had a few changes in personnel. Um, Kalina Maloney is a brilliant scrummager. She brings a lot to the front row. And then on top of that, Elena Perry's been around a long time. She's been scrummaging really well. So it's brilliant the way she's been able to slot into camp. She was a last minute call up, and she's done a brilliant job of coming in and getting to know the intricacies of the rest of the front row, because that is ultimately one of the biggest keys to success, is being able to work as a unit. So being able to come in and in a month's time to gel with the girls around her that well, I mean, it speaks to one of the reasons why she was player of the match, which I always love to see a prop getting player of the match. It doesn't
It's
happen
such a
often enough.
rarity.
100%.
So rare.
So yeah, so that was brilliant. But no, like, it was really brilliant to see them dominating and making their, you know, putting out their point of difference on the pitch. It's great to see.
I fully expect you to just say, Linda, it's all Linda.
I'm sure Linda is her 50th cap, so she had a point to prove. Any scrum
She
was
really
going backwards.
did.
Yeah.
She seems to me to be culturally really, really important to that squad. She has a real presence about her. What is she like to be in a squad with?
I had the honour of starting with Linda in Leinster years and years ago when we were both just kind of starting out. Now I think she was new to rugby, I was new to Irish rugby, but yeah, she's kind of been that constant since then. She's always been part of a squad, always been putting her hand up, you know, scoring the mad try here and there wherever she wants. So no, she's definitely a part of the Irish squad and has been for 50 caps for good reason.
And it's incredible to see, you know, anybody who's a fan of the men's game, okay, you get your 50th cap, you work on to your 100th cap. That's not where we're at with women's rugby. There's not typically enough games across a season to really clock up huge caps. So a 50th cap is pretty significant in Irish rugby, and it was great to see her, and hopefully many more, and she can head on towards that 100th cap. So just looking back at the game, Spain had 10 entries into our 22, which, when I looked back at the stats, Chloe, that was a huge number of entries compared to 7 of our own. But when we entered 7 times, we scored 7 times. Spain averaged 2.1 points per visit to the 22, but at the same time, Ireland spent 39% of the game in our own 22. Against the Black Ferns, Chloe, are we going to struggle if we concede that much territory throughout the game?
I think so. Like I just think out of a pure class standpoint of the player caliber is going to be so different. I don't think we can afford to soak pressure up for 39%. Like it's just not possible. They're going to be a better side than Spain are. So if we don't find ways to get out of there, then it's going to be a long day for us, I think. And we did so many things really well. Like, you know, when you look at the line-out, when you look at scrum success, really, really strong. Like, they're the positives we need to bring into the game. But that's probably the one target area I would say is, you know, we can't sustain that pressure against the Black Ferns. It just won't work.
So I just want to briefly discuss a few of what I thought at least were the controversial moments in the Irish game. In around 60-minute mark, there was a try which was then reviewed by the TMO and the referee for a suspected double movement. It was Lourdes Alameda who got the ball down in the end. For me, it was certainly a clear double movement. What I saw was, when she initially landed, her head was on the line. And by the time she scored, her shoulders were on the line and her head was well past it. I don't know if, Christy, for you, it was a double movement. Do you think it was a try? Should it have been chalked off?
I suppose from the stands, it looked like it was, but I guess we don't have the ability to watch it back in slow mo and hear all the comms that's going on. But look, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but it did look like a double movement.
It did. She looked like she pumped her legs a little bit to move forward. Again, somebody entered the ruck and smashed into it. But to me, that was very double movement. Chloe, did you think it was a controversy, or should it have been a no try?
I thought it was a try. I did honestly, like, and we were sitting in a pub in Killaloo, we were watching it, and I said to the girls, I said, she's allowed to place it. Like, if someone hits the ruck, momentum takes her. I thought it was a fair try. So I don't know, like, I suppose that's the clarity you miss as a fan. And, you know, like, even sitting here with a group of four, some of us think it's a try, some of us don't, you know, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where the issues lie. But yeah, I thought she was entitled to place it. I thought she's whatever and she can get it back over her shoulder, and I thought fair enough and fair play. Like, there was this talk about how long was she allowed to hold it for. They were showing it in slow motion, so I was saying, well, if you put it on real speed, then it might look a bit different. But yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with it, to be honest.
I think probably the more controversial one was the try at the end. They initially had a try ruled out because there was a knock on in the build up, and then shortly after they get a line out in the corner. The ball goes 4 of the 5 meters it should go, and they loop around and crash over in the corner. Christy, it wasn't even reviewed.
Yeah, I know. We were chatting about it in the stand, but we just assumed we hadn't seen it properly. Again, like, you don't have the ability to stop and rewind, fast forward the whole thing. So we kind of, because it wasn't reviewed, kind of brushed past it ourselves. Interesting to hear what it sounded like on the TV, though.
Yeah, I think. Well, for me, Chloe, I don't know about you. It was clear that it hadn't traveled the 5 meters. I felt like maybe the attitude was like, well, we've just scratched one off. We can't scratch another off. It won't change the result. Blow it up and go into the stands.
Yeah, and I thought the pass back was forward as well. And I know, like, that was said in the comments and they didn't even check it. On the flip side, I thought we got away with the one that was chalked off, though, because for me, Emer Corrie's in the way. You, like, when it was knocked on, like, I thought she's rolling. They're saying, oh, she can't do anything. I said, but she's rolling and she's in her way to an extent, like, so I thought we kind of got away with one as well. So maybe I'm just like, oh, they got one, we got one, fair enough at the time. But I was actually surprised by the view on that, because if she's not there, I don't know if she knocks that on, but she is there and she's in the way, so I'm like, it has to be a penalty.
I'd very much agree on that. Like, I heard Kat Roach, say, "Oh, to me, she's trying her best to get out of there, but she's still there."
Yes, exactly.
The ball is against her body.
Yeah,
if her
hits
body
her.
Wasn't there,
yeah, or if she stayed down, or if she went east, or I was like, it has to be a penalty.
Yeah, to me it was a penalty.
Far too charitable. I want all the swings and the roundabouts coming my way. I want all the 50-50s. Nothing going the other way. Not a sniff.
So looking back at the match, Perry, like you said, got player of the match, that really rare prop player of the match. I think that means we won't see another one for about 6 years. She was a standout player, but on second watch of the game, I thought Eve Higgins absolutely stood out. Defensively, she was incredibly strong. There was an absolute worldy try saver in the first half where she grabbed, I don't know what player it was, and just reversed them out of the 5 meter channel and back out about 2 meters. Shortly afterwards, then she was under the post with a massive carry herself. Christy, what did you think about her performance? Was she a standout for you, or was there somebody else that was a standout?
Absolutely. I love playing with Eve. Like she'd brilliant player. She makes things happen on both sides of the ball. She's the honorary front row. She's always asking when she can join the front row pack. We'll keep her in the
We
backs for
heard.
now. She's too valuable to us. But no, I thought she played incredibly well. The Dalton Higgins combo is just brilliant in the back line. It makes such a big difference. Just to have the confidence of them working together and seeing them making big smashes and carrying the ball well.
Yeah, they seem to team up incredibly well, and they give each other a little bit of leeway to do certain things, and to Dalton can shoot, Eve Higgins is covering her, and they work particularly well together. Chloe, was there anybody other than either of those two that stood out for you in the game?
I thought Grace Moore was super. A lot of carries, 2 tries in a game where we kind of suspected she would be brilliant because she had done so well in the warm-up games, and then obviously missed out on that starting jersey in the first game. So I was really impressed with her. Same with Brittany. I thought she was super again. Like when Sam went off and they did need a leader, I thought she put her hand up to carry. I thought she was excellent. And in a game where she probably didn't think she'd get as many minutes after the week previous. But so I thought she was excellent as well. And then like that, yeah, Eve and Ailbhe they were superb in the centre. I thought Ailbhe had a lot of big moments as well, like that shooting works for her. Like if I was to sit down and really analyse us and say how do we get after them, it would probably be to get through that fulcrum somehow of her shooting. That's what I would go after. But for now she's getting away with it, so we leave her at it. But like that, I think because Eve has her back so much and she'll cover her inside, they know they have that license to do that. And then she makes those big shots. But to be fair, a lot of players played well. There was just small things that didn't work at times. But I didn't think anyone performed really poorly. I think it was just a couple of system errors more so than actual individual performances.
Few different combos on the pitch as well, just from the first round to the second round, which kind of, I think, like Chloe said, led to those system errors rather than individual performances being poor. Just getting comfortable in the starting jersey and working together in a squad can have a bit of teething problems.
I'd like to give a special shout out for Stacey Flood, who I think has, across the World Cup warm-up games and into the first 2 rounds, for me, she's stood out as just her ball distribution is absolutely exceptional. I don't think there's anybody across the squad that can deliver the passes like she does. When she comes into that attacking line, she is that clinical passer, can get that ball out wide and put people through holes. So I think for me, she's certainly performing incredibly well. So looking ahead then to next weekend, and not too far ahead to the following weekend, you mentioned, Chloe, Sam is injured potentially. It looked like a bit of a hip issue. There was a tackle in the game against Spain where she was turned beyond the horizontal, but before she was brought to ground, she was brought back down safely, but with a thud onto the ground. She seemed to get up gingerly, try and play on with that hip, but came off. Do we think she's going to be fit and ready for that game?
I'm not sure. Like it was weird, like because it seemed like such an impact injury for her to, like unless it was like a dead glute or something like that. But I was surprised by the mechanism of the injury that she went off. It was a strange one. So hopefully it's just precautionary. They took her off. Like obviously, look, she had just come back from the ACL and hurt her hamstring on the road back. So maybe they're just looking after her a little bit. But then obviously Fiona went down in Emer. Like Emer was obviously her nose, so probably not too bad. But hopefully they're all okay, or else I don't know, Christy, you might I'll be going and just
Puppy
standing
in.
in second row or something like that. Maybe I'll get a call, but my phone will be off because I'm busy. So I can't go over. But yeah, hopefully they're all right. But I think if I was them, I would err on the side of caution because, look, why would you risk her for next week and then potentially lose her for the quarterfinal? That's just me. So I would definitely err on the side of caution and rest her if there's any kind of, if there's a chance she can play that quarterfinal and be fully fit. I wouldn't be playing her half fit next week.
I'd have to agree. I would protect her. She's absolutely pivotal in terms of her leadership as well as her contribution as a player. I wouldn't be risking her for that game at all. Somebody else who, Christy, I wouldn't be risking. I know she's now in the squad. Eve Wafer, she's been tracking incredibly well with her rehab post minor knee surgery, we're told, but she's not somebody I'd want to put out maybe off the bench for the last 20 minutes or so. But beyond that, I don't think I'd be starting her.
Yeah, I don't think there's a huge amount of benefit in playing her for a huge amount of minutes this weekend. She's in first tour. She's been working really hard to get herself fit through, checking all the boxes with the rehab gym, staying cardio fit. So it'll be exciting to have her back on the pitch. But it's definitely, it's with the coaches to decide how many minutes she's going to get and what the pros and cons of playing her this weekend versus waiting the extra weekend for the quarterfinal is.
Chloe, looking ahead to the game, how do we handle Portia Woodman and Georgia Miller? Like, what is the strategy going into that game to try and keep them quiet?
Well, I'm booking on at 20 kg, and I'm going to bring a sniper with me and take them out. And that's the plan. I think we just have to stay really connected in D. Our connections are going to have to be really strong. Our line speed's going to have to be really strong. We're going to have to be really clinical in our tackling to make sure that, we're not falling off tackles because that's when they do damage. Like Georgia Miller she's beaten like 21 defenders so far and she only played half a game of rugby in the first one.
She's phenomenal.
She's like a cheat code, an absolute cheat code. So I think staying really connected and identifying that she's going to be a danger player is going to be important for us. But they have lots of other danger players too, so it's a tough one. But I think on the wings, Lee and Eve and some of the girls and Stacey coming around will have played against Portia in a 7 series as well, so they'll know what they're up against. It's not going to be
That's true.
It's not going to be a massive shock to the system as someone we've never played against before. But they're only 2 players in a team of a really good quality. But I think just having those connections in D, making sure that if someone's on your inside, they're on your inside because, they do have the ability to step back inside and coach you open. But I think as we spoke about that time and tackle as well, it's going to be really important to allow us to get our defensive line set then to get up off it.
So looking ahead to the next round, there's another bunch of games. Canada against Scotland, USA against Samoa, which is an absolute must-win for the USA. And they need to narrow the gap with the Wallaroos. I think there's 10 tries in that gap at the moment. They need Wallaroos to concede quite a few against England. That's probably going to happen. And USA need to go and score a few themselves. Wales versus Fiji is an interesting one for me. I think it's going to be a sign of where Wales are really, truly at the moment. You'd expect them to beat Fiji, but you just might not this weekend. England, Australia, what's to say about that? Japan versus Spain, which is a repeat of the World Cup warm-ups. Japan beating Spain in the warm-ups. Spain out for revenge. Not sure I see it happening, but it'd be an interesting finish for them if they could do that. Italy versus Brazil. Italy have to come away with a win there just to recoup some of that confidence, I suppose, at the end of the World Cup. Ireland versus New Zealand. Biggest game of the weekend, I think, not just for us. I think it's going to be the most interesting game across all of the games. And then France versus South Africa, and I think we're all a little bit South African at the weekend. So Cian, your favourite time, go for it.
Right, time for the lucky dip. This is, you pick a number between 1 and 15. You got a question off my random sheet assigned to that number, and you hope that it is a safe one. And since Chloe knows what she's doing, an old hand at this stage, I'll let Chloe go first. So pick a number between 1 and 15 there, Chloe.
In future, we're going to have to start picking a number to see who goes first, because I keep getting stung here.
It's the luck of the draw.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to
draw.
take the luck. I'm going to take the luck away from Christy here, and I'm taking number 3.
3. Okay.
You can't be a fan now.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm doing now, and it's probably going to be karma here and bite me in the arse, but sure, look.
Well, let's see what you think of this one. If your life had a recurring background sound effect like a sitcom, what would it be and when would it play?
I think it has to be, you know, that soundtrack that's like, nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. Yeah.
But when would it happen? When?
Oh, I'd say all the time. Just
All the time, just walking around randomly.
literally, like, I just go to
Completely
work.
random.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. Come home from work. Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
I'd
karma,
love to hear
wow.
Cloda's response to that question, actually, now.
Oh, I'd say after the weekend we've had, I don't even know if we're friends right now, so I'm definitely in the bad books. Christy is like a true witness of Chloe after finishing a season of drinking and how that goes and how do you get Chloe home. So she's probably on Cloda's side in this one, I would say.
It's just like a Jet 2 holiday.
Yeah, thank you. In Japan, bouncing off every wall in Japan that you can.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, 2 of us bouncing off each other as well, just knocking into things in the street.
Swaying the whole way. Yeah.
I remember well.
Any
or,
footage of this by any
or
chance?
maybe I just
No footage,
lost it
thank
all.
God.
Cameras weren't invented back then. Yeah.
What was that, 2023?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, wow. Okay. Christy, pick a number between 1 and 15, and 3 is gone. Unfortunately, you don't get that one.
Oh my gosh. Well, I may as well. If I can't go 18, I'll go number 1 then.
Number 1. All right. In your squad, who's the most likely to solve a tactical crisis mid-game using vibes only? And who's the teammate actively making it worse in the moment?
Vibes only. I'm gonna have to give to. I was gonna give to Ruth Campbell, but she's definitely the one making the problems. So I'd give it to I feel like Eve Higgins would be a good one for vibe. She's a good gut on her. She'd be anything on the go. But Ruth Campbell's definitely the one who's making mayhem for us.
That's 2 dropped in it nicely there. Lovely.
Love it. Brilliant. Right. So we will wrap that up for this week. Thank you so much for joining us, Christy and Chloe, in the state you're in. Well done for getting through it. Round 3 of the World Cup next week, as we said, the entirety of Ireland is going to descend on Brighton, which is going to be absolutely incredible. Well, everybody except Cian. Sorry about you.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week to discuss the highs and the lows of round 3. Until then, keep on rocking.